Did I really get what I deserve considering how much I actually paid for this phone? So hey, it's Harry Husky, and in this video I want to talk about this. This is the A80, which is an Android phone from Blackview, which I'm not sure how many people have actually heard of. I know people know the likes of Huawei or Xiaomi, but this is another one of those Chinese manufacturers, and as of recording this video, this phone is still actually quite recent, so it's not actually been out for that long. So I think it's been about 3 months or 4 months. I actually ordered this back in August and only recently just got it. I've been using it for a few days, gonna give a little unboxing and give my overall verdict. There are some interesting points I do want to point out about this phone, and why I may have got what I deserve considering how much I paid for it. So if I can recall right, this is the 16GB model which I ended up getting, and it costed around £51, and that was also including free shipping to the United Kingdom. I will be doing an unboxing and a review of this phone, so the unboxing will come first, and then I'll give my insight into how the phone has served me throughout the last few days. So without further ado, let's just go on to the review, but first up, the unboxing. Something else I do want to point out before getting on to the unboxing on this phone is I was going to try something different out with this, hence why I wasn't talking during the unboxing. I was going to talk over it while looking back at the footage, but things didn't quite work out well in terms of timing and me generally messing things up. So here's the unboxing with some music. Okay, so it's been about a few days, I think, since I've been using this phone, and I've got to be honest, I'm not really that impressed. I'm about to explain why and show you why with roughly, I'd say, the top 4 things I tend to do with my usual phone, which is the iPhone XR. There is also one other feature I do want to go through that I have not used on a phone for years, so I'll just swipe up and enter my passcode, and passcode entered. So one thing I do want to talk about quickly, because this is something that I don't think I've used in the last decade on any phone, is the FM radio feature. Now, if you do want to use it, you have to, if it's going to let me, Okay, so that's a weird thing I've just discovered. So with styluses, it's not that responsive. So let's just try and see what... Hang on a minute.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I realised why it wasn't doing that, because I'm stupid and I just couldn't see it with the massive GoPro quite in front of me because of the way I have to film this video. But if you do want to use it, you will get this on the bottom, which is to start listening, plug in headphones used as an antenna. So, where are my headphones? Here they are. They're just a bunch of JVC ones I've had lying around. So we plug them into the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is on the top. And I'll show you the issues I've had with this particular feature. It might not show in the video, and you might not be able to hear it. But if I just... I don't know how the hell I pressed that, but type in FM radio. How are we doing for volume, is it? So the one issue I had with FM radio, it sounds like it works fine. I'll just see if I can hold the headphones up to the camera so you can just about hear it. But even with radio stations that get the best frequency or the best reception in your area, I've been getting a lot of static, like it keeps cutting out to nothing, or just that fuzzy hissing sound as you do get with static. So currently listening to BBC Radio 1, which has the best reception in the area, and around the country as well, so probably has more listeners than any other radio station in the UK really. But even with this, I've been getting a lot of issues with transmission quality, well, receiving quality I should probably really say. So if your wire moves about too much for your headphones, the radio quality and what you're going to be listening to is going to be greatly affected. So the FM radio isn't perfect, and I've used this feature like on phones in the last 10 years. So okay, let me just try that again. The FM radio feature isn't great. The receiving quality isn't great. I think even with the best wiring in your headphones, you're probably not going to get that great of a listening experience. So just swipe up to what I've listened to so far. Alright, so I'm not going to be going over absolutely everything on this phone. I'm only just going to be doing a select things that I imagine most people would look for in a smartphone. So the one thing I do want to just look at is how it is for checking social media. So I'll just go into my Twitter. God knows what's going to appear on my social media feed, because I'm telling you, I get some really weird stuff showing up there time and time again. So I know a lot of my content is going to be, or what my feed is going to look like, will probably be questionable at best to maybe most of the people watching this video. It's not smooth when you're scrolling up or down. It can lag, but it's not really something that's going to stop instantly. It's not going to be something that's going to affect through the response rate of the ways you touch your phone and the way you touch your screen. So let's just see how it is for viewing pictures on social media. So I'll just go into probably my recent tweet, or probably the better photos, because so just that, and that. So yeah, it can be a bit laggy, smooth at times, but actually I just don't really want to show that. So checking social media can be a little bit laggy, and it hasn't got anything to do with my internet connection, because on other devices it works perfectly fine. So there's the social media. Now one thing I want to show is how it is for viewing YouTube videos. Now the other issue with this is, on most smart devices nowadays, you can view your videos in 1080p. However, because this has a 720p resolution screen, you can only watch videos in a 720p setting. Okay, so for testing YouTube videos, I literally just searched up aerial views on YouTube, just to see which was the shortest one that came out first. And looking at the picture, I know this really isn't going to do it justice, but actually I can't see anything wrong with it. Considering this is a 720p playback, the video resolution is probably 1080p or 4K, and this is a 1080p resolution screen on the phone. Yeah, I just can't see anything wrong with it. The colouring is fine, it's nice and sharp. The frame rate playback is probably about 24, 25, where the video is probably 30 or 60 frames per second. So when you're playing YouTube videos back, chances are you're going to get a slower frame rate than the actual video itself. Now the other thing I do want to do while I'm on the YouTube app is see how audio sounds through the speakers on this. I'm just going to have to find some no copyright sounds to see what the hell I can even find and play it back through the speakers on the phone. Okay, so I went on the No Copyright Sounds YouTube channel to see what the first one is I can find. I found something, and just to try and turn this all the way up.
Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before.
So I'll just bring this closer, you can probably hear it a bit better. So that speaker at the bottom is the only one that it will come out of. So, okay, I think you get the idea, so I'll just turn that down. Listening to that, when watching stuff like videos or listening to music through that speaker, for me, it really dampens down the immersive audio experience. Getting a bit technical there, but really, it's not up to scratch with a lot of smartphones these days, because even on a lot of smartphones, which are probably, if you are on a budget, like a smartphone that would cost double this much, so only £100, or maybe even a smartphone that costs £75, you could get better speakers from that smartphone, probably. I don't know, because I haven't listened to them and I haven't tried them, but because it's just the way it sounds a bit tinny, and it sounds like that there's a layer in between the speaker and it turned that up by accident. So really the speaker quality isn't great. I did actually try listening to music with the 3.5mm headphone jack and some headphones that I usually tend to use. Had no issues there, the music played back fine, it sounded fine, sounded how it should. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for YouTube and the music side of things when it comes to this phone. Just before I talk about the camera, actually, there was one thing I forgot to talk about and didn't think to do at the start of this video, was talk about the overall look, feel and quality of the phone. Don't know what the hell that is. It's probably something that my paws have done. I'll just try to get back onto it and try not to touch the screen. So, yeah, in terms of quality, physically to hold, it's actually pretty good considering the price tag. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't even feel like nasty cheap. So the other thing is the fingerprint recognition system. I can't do that because it doesn't work on paws, but I have tried this on human hands and it has worked fine. As for the screen, it's actually pretty nice. Colours are vibrant, it's nice and sharp. Yeah, that's really all I have to say for the screen. Now for the part that I really look for in a smartphone nowadays, and I imagine a lot of people do nowadays with the whole game being changed, is the camera. Now, I want to talk about the lenses on the camera, on this phone particularly. So on the front we have a single 5-megapixel lens. Now on the back, we have some, from what I've been told, are some 13-megapixel. Well, I do know they're definitely 13 megapixels, but I know one of them is. I don't know about the rest of the cameras on the setup. Now, this is a quad camera, and for something like this, I would expect one of the lenses to be a telephoto, and I'd expect another one to be a wide-angle one. But the only lens I've managed to get on the camera to work is this one here, where I'm pointing at with my stylus. So this one, and this one are the three that look different to the one that I've actually managed to get work. I don't exactly know what they do, because I've tried looking at the specifications to see what they do, and I tried looking in the user manual, but they just listed this whole thing as camera. So really, I've tried looking for answers to say what they do, but the chances are they could have something to do with just the night mode and the Pro, which I haven't been able to use because I spent a lot of time talking about it in this video. I just want to go through the basic stuff. So if I swipe up and go to the camera, probably turn it on its side. So we have a just about working camera. I put my stump. They have it. So that's the 13-megapixel rear view camera. And if I try picking up my stylus, let's try turning it round. Where's the button? To the 5-megapixel front lens. Is it going to see anything that's... Oh. Hang on a minute. Alright, so here we have it. We have our front megapixel. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but there I am. Hey. Let's just try doing a bit more focusing so you can probably see me a bit better. Alright, so I think this is the clearest you're ever going to be able to see me, but there I am, so... Hey there! So, just going to lock that for now. I've just locked it. So just before I talk about the camera quality, just going to go over some of the settings. So here we just have the basic picture, we have video, which I will talk about more about in the camera quality. Here we have mono, which... looking at it, gives pictures in black and white. Go over to Pro, and here we have exposure, we have our ISO, and I imagine that's the white balance. So going on to night, it's probably not going to work or do justice very well because of how bright the room is. So that's really all I have to say with the phone itself. Now onto the camera quality. Something else I do want to talk about before I go into the camera quality is the touch controls on this phone. Now touch controls are, from my experience with it, they are just all over the place. They range from either not being sensitive enough to a bit too sensitive. You may notice in the video that I ended up touching things where I didn't want to, and quite a few times I was tapping onto the screen trying to get the thing to work. Most notably where this occurs actually is the camera icon on the corner screen here of the lock screen. So I would swipe on that a few times, either with a human finger or a stylus. It took about 3 or 4 attempts to try and get it working and try and get the camera set up running. So that's one flaw that I've also found on this phone, which comes to the touch controls. So like I just said, either not sensitive enough or just a bit too sensitive, so there is quite a flaw in that. So anyway, on to the camera quality. When it comes to taking pictures on this phone, they can be actually pretty decent, but the camera system is actually very slow and a bit unresponsive at times. Usually on most smartphones nowadays, if you just take the photo and just press the button, it would snap it within an instant. For this phone to take the final photo, it can take about 2 to 3 seconds to actually get the photo taken, if you kind of get what I mean. To simplify that a bit more, it takes the camera about 3 seconds to actually take the picture. Because there were a few cases where I thought it took the photo and then I heard the snap, and then I looked back at the photo and just to see what all it was just some massive blur. If I do still have those examples, I'll definitely show them when comparing photos and showing them off in the video. So to take photos, I actually went around the centre of Bath City, had a little bit of a play around with the camera, just used the basic picture setting, and here's a montage of what I got. So now on to recording video, and trust me, if you want to record video on a smartphone, this is not the phone you want. The big problem with this is the frame rate and just the general way it sort of captures things, and also the other problem for me is the highest resolution it will go is 720p. I mean, surely a smartphone at this price should at least be able to do 1080p or maybe even 4K video, but we're still here just stuck with just 720p. Now I'm not going to explain why or how the footage was so bad. I thought I'd just show you a montage of it, so it should be self-explanatory for those who is just looking for a good video quality smartphone. But anyway, here's what it captured. So yeah, I kind of think that speaks for itself really, so yeah. Also, the stabilisation is horrendous. Here's a little test I did earlier where I started off by walking, just started off about slowly just to see how it does, and then later on in the video I start running, picking up the pace, and it just all fell apart from there. I did just do this test on my iPhone XR, so you know what the stabilisation should be like on most smartphones nowadays, regardless of manufacturer likewise. And you can still see the jerkiness, but it is a whole lot better. In fact, it even feels like something else entirely, compared to what the Blackview captured. Now, I wasn't expecting much out of this next feature, but I do want to talk about the night mode on the camera. It's actually pretty decent. I only did this night test when it was really dark and when I was just in my local area. So here is just a side-by-side comparison montage, another montage, just showing what I did without night mode and then turning on night mode in this area that I was in. The other thing I did with night mode is to see how well it did in poorly lit areas. I'll just leave these here, and they should be self-explanatory. They did start off okay, but when I got to barely any lit areas at all, you can just about see this orange fuzziness just around the outside of the picture. So if you're going to try and use night mode and you're going to try and take pictures in the dark and trying to take pictures of the stars where there's very little light, you are going to get that sort of orange fuzziness right around the screen. And with that, that's really all I have to say about this phone. So, is this phone a recommended buy? To be honest, if you're not looking to doing much with an Android phone, like you're just going to get an Android phone just to do with calls or text or whatever, then by all means go for it. If you're looking for it to browse the web, why not? It can be flawed in that certain areas, but it is still usable. However, I cannot recommend this phone to anyone who is looking into using it to take photos or videos. It is absolutely useless. Well, it is okay. It would be okay for photos, but when you want to take video, this is just going to serve you badly. This is not even worth buying just for photo or video. I mean, photos will still be pretty decent, but you're not going to get the very best quality out of it. So depending on certain factors and depending on certain uses you will intend to have with this sort of smartphone, it would be a sort of a yes and no, all means go for it. If you, what is this review doing to me? So bottom line, I would recommend this phone to anyone who wants an Android phone but isn't looking to doing much with it, just basically like calls, text or browsing the web. I would not recommend this if anyone is going to expect the best out of it, especially the video and photo areas of the particular phone. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about the Blackview A80. So I'm going to sign it off for this video, maybe see you with something else later on in the month. Got a couple of video ideas in mind, so might have to debate which one to put up first. I got one involving a pair of wireless headphones, talk about more on that in probably a future one, and also a mini cupcake maker which I ended up winning in an arcade, but that will be, I'll probably release that next time actually. So that's all for me today, and bye bye.